Good morning. Welcome to Marketing Over Coffee. I'm John Wall.
I'm Christopher Penn.
And today, so first for our folks on video, I'm giving you a demonstration of a shirt that you should not wear on video. I've heard this called both vibration or I think it's moire.
Moria.
Moire. That's right. I believe that's the right pronunciation. So yeah, don't wear pinstripes because it looks ridiculous on video. All right, so enough with the bad jokes, especially for those who are not on video, as if I have to tell them they're not on video. I don't know why I have to do that, but let's get down to business. Google, all kinds of stuff Google this week. We literally could probably talk about Google for this entire episode.
Yeah.
So let's just like start ripping through the stuff. I think the most useful, well, and I say most useful, what appeared to be the most useful was the Google mobile tool getting an update. It was put out around 2014, if I remember right. And now you can put in your site to give you some feedback. But then the first thing I have to report was I tried to run Marketing Over Coffee through it, and I got some kind of robot message, and it didn't work. So have you had better luck than me?
Yeah, I tested it out, and it is indeed more friendly. It does provide about the same level of recommendations you get inside of Search Console. So make sure that if you're not already using it and already have your website in Search Console, you are about 10 years too late. I mean, that's Webmaster Tools. I would hope by now everyone is up to speed on that.
Yeah, if you need a reminder about Webmaster Tools, we need like a sombrero for people to wear if they don't have Webmaster Tools yet, because you need to be able to identify those people easily. Gboard. I had just seen this mentioned yesterday, and you actually said you've already played with it. So what's up there?
So Gboard is a new keyboard for your iPhone. It's iOS specific, works on the iPad too, and it brings some much needed upgrades to the iPhone keyboard. A couple things: it incorporates speed typing or swipe typing, which is kind of handy. It's very predictive, which is, as we'd expect Google, it does a better job predicting what your next logical word should be in sentence. But two things that are really interesting: it has built-in Google search. So Google mobile search right into the keyboard, so you can tap and drop search results right into chat. So if you're like, what's the address for this place, just do a search for it in the keyboard and just swipe and drop it into like a Facebook Messenger or SMS. Really handy. And then GIF search and emoji search. The big talk in marketing circles, though, is that there's currently no ads in it. We don't expect it to stay that way. But it is the epitome of mobile SEO. It is like there's one result. If you're not number one, you're nothing because you don't show up. And so if you have not already done everything you possibly can to get your site to be mobile SEO ready, the boat is now sailing.
Yeah, this is the incentive to get it done. Well, and I've always wanted swipe typing. I'm surprised Apple never pulled that in because it seems to be very effective. But one of the leading swipe keyboards was not that good and still had some issues. So I'm very interested in checking this thing out and see how that works. So we'll be able to report back next week on how that runs. Oh, Google search cards too. What's up with that now? I haven't seen anything on that yet.
So that was an announcement as of this morning. You're getting the freshest news possible here on Marketing Over Coffee. Google has updated its snippets for rich media cards in search results, specifically for videos and for recipes. So if you have a site, particularly with the video, when you do a search for it, in search, you should get the little card that has the tiny little preview of the video and stuff. It's all schema and markup and metadata related, and make sure that your site is getting things marked up correctly. And obviously, unless there are compelling reasons not to, host a copy of your videos on YouTube so that you get the best possible exposure in search results.
Yeah, so you get odds. Okay, I did. Yeah, I saw a recipe come up in the card this week, and that did catch my attention. So I was not totally clueless on that. I didn't realize that was all part of the mix coming on there. Well, and talking about tagging and getting things written correctly, you can be a great writer without being a great marketer, but you can't be a great marketer without great writing. And that's why our friends at Marketing Profs University created the Marketing Writing Bootcamp. It's a brand new kind of writing course delivered entirely on demand. You can watch from your desktop computer, from the comfort of your couch, or during your commute to the office, featuring 13 classes taught by some of today's brightest marketing writers. It's guaranteed to make you a better writer and, more importantly, a better marketer. The coupon code is COFFEE. Visit mprofs.com/coffee and you'll save $200 off this course. So we've had a good take on it over the past couple of weeks. We've had a bunch of people come on board, and we know it's a great course. So we thank profs for their support of the show this quarter. Google Front continued to Chrome ditching Flash. I did completely file under unsurprising as far as I'm concerned, but still interesting to see. It was Very interesting. They have, I think it was 10 sites that are whitelisted that will still be able to run Flash. I think it's media outlets like New York Times and some other ones. But basically, everyone else, it will come up as disabled and you'll have to opt in, so that hopefully to stem all of the security problems that go into that. I don't know. Do you have anything more on that? Part of me is just like surprised that Flash is still around at all, given all the technology that's now available.
Yeah, it is no surprise at all. It is overdue. If you're still developing with Flash, again, the HTML5 boat sailed about a year ago, and you should have been on it. This is you need to upgrade and pay whatever you need to pay to get your stuff no longer in Flash.
On to the next thing. Yeah, up and running. Okay. On your blog, actually, we got a couple things. Well, yours and Shift. But first, a plug for the Marketing Automation Project. You've got 8 videos up there. I've actually been going through some of those just because both of us were on the What Counts platform, and we'll probably be making a change or figuring out what to do. I have to say too, it did make me feel better to see you. You went into Tag Manager and was doing some stuff, and you were like routing around through the navigation. I was like, oh, okay, so I'm like not the only one that logs into these Google products, and it's like, where the hell have they moved it this week?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just all that stuff is always on the move and always a mess. How about those? So influencers were all the rage this week. There was a post about influencers, being a great way to market, and I saw you had some data that may speak otherwise to that.
Well, so the big news was there was a social media executive who was interviewed by Digiday magazine, or Digiday, the website, last week, saying, well, yeah, influencers got out of control because we threw too much money at them too fast and stuff. And he's like, I'm not really sure it's worth it. We're not really sure what they're bringing. And posts like that, for longtime listeners of the show, know that the posts like that irritate me, because this person could have shared data, did not. Instead, was just a lot of navel gazing. So what we did was at Shift, we pulled the 365-day profiles of about 16,000 known influencers, people who've been identified as influencers by various different companies or in coverage and stuff, and looked at the data. Here's the thing. For the most part, influencers they can generate results. The question is, how much are you paying them? It comes down to an ROI calculation. If you need shares, if you need clicks, the best thing you can do for your business is to compare them to other advertising vehicles. They are an advertising channel. Stop pretending that they're anything else besides an advertising channel. And if an influencer charges you $10 to get you, 50 or 60 clicks, that's competitive with like PPC advertising, and you're in good shape there. If an influencer says, no, you need to pay me $300,000 to take some pictures of your product, for Instagram, you're like, well, I think we kind of need to see some more actual tangible results in order to fork over, $300G.
Yeah, no, that's you reach, if you're into your TV budget to pay an influencer, you better have some kind of impact on that, because it's you better have a huge platform, and it better match you dead on, or you've got to go with. So I'll have a link with that in the show notes. People can dig right in and check out the graph and stats on that. You guys have a bunch of data up there, so that will be great.
Yeah, one of the big things there for everyone listening, if you want to get ahead of the curve, start thinking about your influencer contracts with like tiers of service. Like, okay, yeah, here's your base, $500. Thanks for showing up and taking a picture, fee. And if you get us, 1,000 new followers, or 1,000 new clicks on this URL, or 20 leads from this event, then you get we'll bonus you this. If you get 50 new leads from this event, we'll bonus you this. And it's sort of like performance-based marketing. I would guess most influencers who know the game is up, we're going to back away. Like, nope, we don't do performance. It's here's the fee and nothing else. But those folks who know they've got the goods, like, yeah, I'll if those folks who sponsor Marketing Over Coffee, what the lead flow is like out of the show. So if you got a product that's good mix, the advertising pays off.
Yeah, exactly. There's always a couple power players, and it seems to be, it's just when there's the right fit, if the content is well matched with what your product does, and that your listeners or customers are there, then suddenly, yeah, it gets to be an easy thing, as opposed to the spray and pray that are just hawking everything. Those tend not to get the traffic, and it just gets ugly. Twitter, actually, getting off the Google bus for a second. Twitter to stop counting photos and links in the 140 characters. So them giving a little bit more breathing room, basically, in this, but still keeping a limit, which I think is kind of one of their key value props. Really, is what has kept them alive. But what do you think? Is this enough to bring things back for them, or is this just delaying the inevitable?
I think we file this under Twitter, doing anything it can to keep users.
Doing whatever it takes to hold on to but what it, if they completely abandon the 140, is that just like now saying, hey, we're less powerful than Facebook and that's it, there's nothing left? I mean, do you feel they have to keep the 140 to remain unique?
Their CEO and co-founder Jack Dorsey has said they're going to keep the 140. They're just not going to count some things in it because they want they want it to be the actual text itself. Now, I did already see on one of the Black Hat SEO groups saying, here's how you hack the URL structure so that you can have infinitely long tweets and stuff with this thing. So I would expect that folks will begin abusing it the moment that it becomes available.
As soon as it's turned on, it will get a lot of ugly tweets in the stream. All right, well, that's no surprise. That's still part of what we've been dealing with. We have an offer specifically for MOC listeners. If you go to infer.com/MOC and enter your email, you'll see how their simulation system works, and you'll be rated as to whether Infer might be a fit for your organization. If you score above an 80, you'll be qualified to get a free pre-model assessment. This is where they will examine your last 12 months of Salesforce data and give you a full report on lead conversion metrics, campaign effectiveness, optimal timeframes for lead conversion, all kinds of interesting stats. You can infuse intelligence into your sales and marketing stack. Just create Lift with Infer. And again, that's infer.com/MOC. We thank them for their support of the show. And yeah, we will leave it at that for this week. Actually, there's another offer that they are working on, and it's very cool. And as soon as I have the green light to share that with everybody, I will throw that out there. And in fact, that'll be in the newsletter. So if you're not signed up for the newsletter, swing on over to marketingovercoffee.com and sign up so that we can get that out to you. And you can check out a way to take advantage of predictive and the lead scoring and all the cool power tools that they've got in Infer. So thanks again for their support of the show. All right, and looping back to Google again. So State of Google Fiber, I've got a link to an article talking more about what's been going on in the Kansas City area and some of the other markets that they're doing that. And they're still just continuing to push for, it ultimately looks like domination of the US. These are just test markets and they want to continue rolling it out because it fuels the business and is good at the front line. And the article was basically saying that there's hatred of the cable companies and their reluctancy to improve service and adapt and take advantage of the technology that's there. So no complaints on that from my side, that's for sure, here living in a town that does not have fiber. So I don't know, this is what I should definitely ask you about, your take on. There has been a lot of chatter about wireless, people going wireless because it's cheaper to roll out and the speeds, of course, continue to get faster and faster. Do you think that will reach parity with fiber, or is it never going to reach the wired fiber?
It's going to depend on latency. And if you need low latency, the hardwired connection, I think, will continue to be the way to go. If you don't have applications that require low latency, like stock trading, video games, etc., then yeah, your mobile connection will generate about 100, 150 millisecond latency, which is, for most applications, even video chat, it can deal with that. But if you need like under 50 millisecond latency if you're doing high frequency trading and stuff, then yeah, you're gonna need the wire. But if you're doing high frequency trading, you can probably afford the wire.
Right, if that's your day job. Yeah, isn't it funny? We never hear about that anymore. That's a big difference between this bubble and the last one. Day trading was all the rage. I remember everybody taking time off to go to their clinics, and now suddenly you don't see that whole amateur investor thing has pretty much been wiped out with this round. So,
oh yeah, well, the amateur investor got cleaned out because the high frequency machinery is just it just crushes everything. You cannot outspend or outmaneuver a computer. It's just not going to happen. And the biggest shops have the biggest money. I mean, they can throw. I remember seeing there was a post about how companies will pay $50,000 more per, it's either month or per day, to be like 25 feet closer to the router in the NASDAQ exchange because it gets them like a 2 millisecond edge.
No kidding. Yeah. And so literally for all the automated trades, that makes a huge difference. That's where the war is being fought. Sad news for the investor sitting at home hoping to to beat the machine. Best of luck with that.
Yeah, you've lost that battle. That battle is lost.
Yeah, it's literally over by the time you hear about it. So it's unsurprising. Europe at war with Google. An interesting article about over $2 billion fines being dropped on Google. So it just seems like they have got a big PR crisis. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how all that shakes out. It's interesting to see government colliding with corporation in this situation here. So do you keep an eye on any of that stuff? Is there anything on your radar that concerns you? Or is that just like stuff going on over there?
That's the stuff going on. Europe has very different regulations in general for everything. So it really boils down to, well, if it is going to take a bite out of, I think, Google's bottom line, but probably not that much.
All right. Well, if you're in that part of the world, we would love to hear from you if you've got some opinions on that. Also, to follow up from last week's story, we talked about Google running the AdWords campaigns. I haven't heard anything new on that, but we had on Twitter, one user had come up and said that they actually are using that service. It is legit, but they have not gotten back to me. I asked them about results and kind of how it's been going and haven't heard back. So we will continue to update on that as we hear more. And I don't know, I think that gets us finally off the Google bus. Is there anything else yet on that front?
Nope, nothing on the Google train.
All right, that's good. I've got a link to Runtastic I'm going to throw out there just because the weather is good here and I'm actually running again. And Runtastic was the best app that I found that includes heart rate monitoring. So I've used a bunch of different running apps and it seems like Runtastic is the only one that has all the stuff that they like. So if you are into running, and then on the headphone front with that too, we always talking about audio gear. I have been testing out a pair of Jaybird X2s, the Bluetooth sports headphones, which are pretty cool. I did not think that running without a cord would be such a big deal, but it is actually very freeing. So I'm happy to kind of take those for a test run and see how those are working. But that's my quick gear plug for what's going on that front. Anything else on your list for the rundown? We actually had a short news list this week.
In terms of like overall stuff that's going on right now, one other thing that was a very tactical post went up today was on using Google Analytics to decide what to reshare. Folks, if you have not already, and we've been beating this drum for about 5 years now, if you haven't put goals and goal values in your Google Analytics, you're missing the boat on so much value. That what you can do, there's 3 sections in Google Analytics that tell you what your most revenue generating content and inbound links are. Those should be in your daily and weekly social resharing stuff. Like if you have a end of day post that goes up on Twitter or Facebook, hey, check this thing out. This is how you find the links. So we'll put a link in the show notes to it, but there's referring links there's campaigns that you should be looking at, and then there's on-site content that all 3 you should be looking at the revenue generated. And it's a great, simple, easy way to make sure that the highest performing stuff is always getting the nod in your social media sharing. So make sure that you have that on board. On gear side for me, I actually have gone old school this week. I have been testing out a new 55-pound compound bow that the point of which is to shoot through things very, very well. The best part about bows and arrows in general, but compound bows with that higher draw weight, is that unlike a handgun or a rifle, your 6-year-old cannot shoot it at you. I still would not leave it laying around, but the chances of your 6-year-old accidentally killing you are very, very low.
All right, well, that's it. So we've got our zombie apocalypse section in there. If you need to defend the turf, you've got the tools to do it there. It's I have done archery for many years, actually, but just not in the past, 10 or 15. So I should probably, once the kids get old enough, we will get the targets back out and get a chance to play with that, because that is a lot of fun. And yes, a lot lower danger danger factor on that kind of stuff. So we've got that, and there was, I had an article, I've got a link to Beyond Two-Dimensional E-Commerce. It's an interesting article talking about how kind of the old two-dimensional experience was, you have the grid of products that you click through for detail. And it's talking about how they've actually achieved better results by going with more of a story-based and experience-based layout, kind of a catalog with a bit of a story that pulls the reader through the content, and that being more effective at selling. So it's pretty good. It's got some sample layouts that you can check out if you want to see what those concepts are like, if e-commerce is part of your marketing mix. So we will throw that in the show notes. You can check that out there. For the road, I guess I will be down in Boston for next week, but I'm already fully booked, so there's not going to be any hanging out or company time, and everything else after that is client time. So how about for yourself on the road tour?
Yeah, about the same. I have trips to Montreal and Toronto scheduled in the next month or so. On June 13th, I'll be doing the opening keynote at the PRSA PRXNE, the Northeast PRSA Conference, talking about reinventing PR and how it fits into the modern marketing mix. So if you are in the Boston area, you can check that out. I believe it's prsanortheast.org is the website, and that's going to be at UMass Boston. So we have that coming up, and then some more client travel and stuff. But that's the nearest show I can think of.
All right, that sounds great. That will do it for this week. And until next week, enjoy the coffee.
Enjoy the coffee.